All right, we're back. You know what it is. Back on the case. Got some news here. Uh, we, you know, we said that Chompy, we were talking, right, about everything that's going on down there. See, wanted to go back. Excuse me. Well, turns out now that he's back, now he's got 2 hits out on him. Not 1, now 2. And then we got, something else too. Now we told him not to go, but, he puts his life on the line on, special, cases, special jobs. That's what he does. Not for free. Okay? Not for free. So, Now, that being said, the heat is on. As far as we were talking about Ashley Cole and all that, Government Street and all the stuff, all the action, Herb, Hudson, and now into the mix now comes the sheriff, Ledbetter, John Ledbetter. Yeah, so the heat is on, on Cole, Chompy, I don't know, he's putting heat on. Somebody's getting nervous, now, it says Ledbetter, it says here with the report, when he turned the heat on Chompy. We're thinking because we said they were him and Cole were Chompy found them, saw them, in what we said earlier in that what was that Lady Bay or some restaurant, and so reported that, and people are getting nervous. Yeah. So this is all brand new stuff. Because Chompy, against, a little bit against, but we know how he is. He takes chances. The special agent bullshit. It's great. But we what we talking about. And by the way, Chompy smells a rat. Okay? Smells a rat. Been there about a day, maybe not 2 days, but in the time he's been there, he's been trying to get a hold of that, his guy, his contact or whatever, that's supposed to be down there working with him. See what I'm saying? Yeah. And turns out, well, not turning out or whatever, but in other words, he hasn't been able to contact him or whatever, or he hasn't responded to the call that Chompy tried to, we were saying on that, so we're looking at that, and so now we were talking about the, we were talking about what the movie Mississippi Burning, and we were talking about everything, with all the things that they do, and we were talking about, It's not funny, the people getting their nuts cut off, males, females, of course, can't. Okay, so, and that's been going on for decades there. Yeah, that right there, what we've been talking about, so, it's not, it's serious business what we're talking about here. Especially when, you got people coming after you and, hits on this and that, we're trying to do the work here, but, under a lot of pressure. Especially when death is, trying to get you. I don't know. Okay, now, excuse me. The heat. The heat on him, Chompy, tells him that they're feeling heat on them. Cole, Ledbetter, all of maybe Hudson too. Yeah. So, and as far as they don't say they know what he looks like. No, not really. Because he does the disguises and all that kind of stuff. So they don't really know what he looks like now. But it's still a big issue because we're wondering what happened with the with the concealment of identity. That was supposed to be there, but it's not there. So what happened? So we're kind of thinking, maybe it's this guy. Okay? Maybe they got some heat on him. Maybe he, they caught him spying and told him, hey, you got to talk or something, or we're going to cut your nuts off. Boop. Uh-oh. And Chompy did say, let's remember now, he said there was an error made. He didn't elaborate on that error. We're kind of thinking maybe this is, and so that error maybe Ledbetter might have heard that. Oh, Ashley, she might have heard it. The Lawrence eater, he might have heard it. And okay, well, and that comes with this. Okay, now Ledbetter, says he was just asking a question or two. He was like, who is this Chompy guy? Chompy guy. Something. Just one little thing, because he heard a little something. He wasn't no big news, nothing. Just he wanted to know. I don't know. We think, he's kind of. Yeah. We just we think he's kind of lazy, and hey. Now we got some other news though. Yeah, we got some other news, and we got it right here. We got to get to it. Okay, about Ledbetter. Better. Okay, he's 38 years old. That's what I'm saying. And little things on him. And he had a legendary grandpa. You know, his name was John Ledbetter. You know, so years from 70 to 80 something. You know, he was a tough law enforcement guy down there in Mississippi. Ooh. So now here's some news. Ledbetter and Ashley Cole, I think they're running for re-election this year. You know, so let's think about that. Now it was in that little restaurant, a meeting area, talking and everything else, you know. And let's remember, I said Ledbetter is 38 years old. Well, Ashley Cole, she's 39. 38, 39. They were kind of talking and stuff. Now Ledbetter, he's married, so, and she is too. But Hudson, he's 50. I think he's 51. Okay, so we're just going by what we see. That's what we do here, and we observe, and we do some fact searching. Okay. So we know they're both running for re-election, and that brings to this. Maybe Ledbetter was helping Ashley Cole and not Hudson. Maybe, who knows? They could be, talking about other things, and there's an age, kind of match there. We don't know what happens, but one thing about it, we know that Ashley, she's afraid of Dr. Hudson because she knows he's a murderer and a larynx eater, so she probably want to get on away from him. And she's feeling pressure, okay? But Ledbetter ain't. Remember now, he's a sheriff and, and everything else, got a lot of power. And legendary grandpa. So if she gonna run to somebody, probably be him. Now, so, all that brings us to this question. Okay, now we gotta talk about this. So Chompy was talking about some feelings, some vibes. He feels like there's vibes in the air of violence down there. Something's getting ready to pop. And now children, he said, are being talked about. Young kids. I don't like that. We don't like that. Chompy don't like that. We got a case to solve, but we gonna look at that too a little bit too. So then we were talking about the violence kind of stuff. Now we have a note here that he said some guy, okay, some guy, okay, a critic and possibly an opponent of Ledbetter, and said he saw Ledbetter in Hudson. Okay, down at this he say it was it's a place called Government Center or something down there. And he say he was all of them there. Something that no, but here's the deal. You know, he was trying to get some more info. No other info. Just like that. Gone. Gone. No info. No him. Gone. Okay? So, we're seeing some disappearing, and now we're kind of looking at, we look at the madman, our number one guy. You know that. What's he doing? We're wondering how long, or has it happened? But we're saying, how long will it be before the killer kills again? It's a suspect killer. We know he's a larynx eater and a throat eater. We know that. Okay, so now, with all that, it brings us to this question. Who wants? Who wants Chompy'S nuts in a jar? Who wants his nuts in a jar? Well, we got some people. Let's see. Ashley Gold. Yeah, maybe. The Hudsons. Ben and what's the son? Warren. Dope and shit. Chompy knows. What about let's see. New guy. Ledbetter. Chompy saw him. Ledbetter saw him. Maybe. Chompy. I had a beautiful lady, she called, be careful, yeah. Chompy, be careful. So, now, we said Ledbetter. So, that seems like 3. Oh, what about Big Ben? We thought he was the guy at first that wanted, Chompy's nuts. They're big on nuts down there in Mississippi. Big on nuts. Pecans, humans. You want nuts? Go down there to Mississippi. A lot of nuts. A lot of nuts in jars. Okay, now. Well, we got one more guy. His guy. Okay? His guy. So, we ain't heard from him, not yet. I hope he's good. We'll see. But, so that's a serious, issues that we gotta deal with, or Chompy's gotta deal with while he's down there in Mississippi. That little town. So, he's got that, people coming after his nuts. But he's still going to, he's going to solve this case. He's on it. That's why they're getting the pressure. He's putting the pressure on them. They think they're putting the pressure on him, but he's done this before. whole lot of threats and everything else, and so he's good. One more thing though, we're kind of nervous, a little bit, with all the candidates. Okay, seems like 6 of them. So or if you're following it, you with Chompy, you nervous too, But he reports he's not going nowhere. It's getting hot, and that's fine with him. That means the pressure is on, and somebody's gonna crack. But he's doing a lot of things under, cover, and a lot of nothing's being reported, and we want it like that. We don't like all that, the private stuff. Agencies, they want things private. Okay, so we're getting ready to close it. We were talking about Hudson, with that thirst to kill. We know how he is, he already got away with murder once, but speaking of that though, he ain't the only one, not the thirst. But Chompy, he has a license to kill. Yeah, he has a license to kill. And it's verified. So rest easy, those of you who are worried, and those who want the real answers, he'll be fine. Even if he has to kill, it's the job. If he has to kill to protect his identity, protect the job, and protect himself. And we're behind him, that. Well, he works for the company and agency. We got a whole lot of things we're here that we have here. Okay, he works for us. So now he said something else. Okay. Chompy says he's got nuts like a rhino. A little joke. I guess. I don't know. Okay, but that's too much info. And we're going to file it. Just in case. All right, so that's just a joke. I think, that's just a joke. Okay, so now back to the serious stuff. What's serious? Well, death. Death. And like he said, Chompy said, death feels like it's in the air. So with death in the air, if Chompy has no other option but to kill, looks like he's gonna have to do it. He's got to make it out of there alive. This ain't our first rodeo or our first case. We had Hannah Payne, and we had what's his name, Bryce Rose, and another two. We be on the case, and Chompy takes chances. Okay, so with death in the air, and if somebody's got to go, that means Chompy's gonna have to there. Okay. Who? It's the person that wants his nuts in a jar. 6 candidates. What do you think? Give your comments. We welcome them. And that's feedback. We don't know. We want to know. We want to get whoever it is. So we'll be back with real life news coming from let's see, Ocean Springs. Yeah. Chompy'S there, and we'll be back with more dairy news.